I'm Teresa. It's been 3 weeks since I walked away from what I thought was my future, and the silence in my new studio apartment is both a comfort and a reminder. The engagement ring, once a symbol of love and commitment, now sits in a box on my dresser, a memento of a life I almost lived. It all started to fall apart when I received a text from Jake, my now ex-fiancé, at 10:12 p.m. Mom wants to know when she can get a copy of the deed for her records. The word deed hit me like a cold wave. I knew then that they'd been planning for ownership all along, not just involvement. Jake and I had been together for 4 years and engaged for 8 months. Our wedding was set for June, with the venue booked and the guest list a constant source of family debates. I'd been saving for a house for years, dreaming of a simple 3-bedroom home in a quiet neighborhood, about 20 minutes from downtown. Jake knew all about my dream. He'd helped me pick neighborhoods and sent me listings with sweet comments like, "This one has a backyard for your future dog." 2 months ago, when I got pre-approved for the mortgage, Jake lifted me off the ground and spun me around in the kitchen. We celebrated with champagne, and he posted a picture of my hand holding the pre-approval letter, cropping out my name with the caption, "One step closer to forever." I truly believed we were going to be okay. But that night, his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, started calling. At first, I thought it was just excitement. Mrs. Thompson began texting me multiple house listings a day, acting like my real estate agent. Mr. Thompson asked detailed questions about my down payment, interest rate, and loan term. His questions felt more like a financial audit than simple curiosity. One evening, after dinner and a home renovation show Jake liked, while I was on my laptop making a furniture budget, Jake casually said, "Babe, when you buy the house, maybe we should put my parents' names on it, too." I was stunned. "What do you mean?" I asked. He tried to explain it as a matter of security, saying his parents had been so supportive and it would make them feel involved. But I knew that putting their names on the deed meant giving them legal ownership of my home. We argued for an hour. He accused me of being paranoid, and I accused him of confusing love with control. Then he started to cry, in a controlled way that made me feel like the bad guy for having boundaries. Exhausted, I finally said, "Fine, I'll do it." The next morning, after Jake left for work, I called my attorney, Mr. Reed. He'd helped me with contracts before when I was freelancing. When I told him they wanted me to put his parents on the deed, he immediately said, "Do not do that." I knew he was right. I decided to call their bluff and asked him to draft a long-term lease agreement that looked official but didn't give them ownership. That evening, Jake came home with Thai takeout from my favorite place. He was acting like our fight the night before was just a small misunderstanding. He talked about the wedding menu, honeymoon destinations, and even baby names, as if we were already a married couple and the house was already a family asset. When he asked if I'd talked to my lawyer, I handed him the folder with the lease agreement. He opened it like a kid opening a gift. His eyes skimmed the top, found his parents' names, and he smiled in satisfaction. He didn't even read the word lease printed in bold on the first page. He kissed me and said, "See, that wasn't so hard. I knew you'd come around." Then he left to take the document to his parents, saying they wanted to celebrate. After he left, I sat on the couch and started making a list of what I could take with me and what I could leave behind. I knew I couldn't stay in a relationship where my partner and his family saw me as an asset to be acquired. At 9:47 p.m. Jake texted me that his parents were happy, and at 10:12 p.m. came the text about the deed. I called Mr. Reed, and he said, "Now you know. It's about leverage." He advised me to leave quietly and cleanly. I started packing that night. In the bedroom closet, I found a suit jacket Jake had left. A folded piece of paper fell from the pocket. It was a handwritten list in Mrs. Thompson's handwriting. The list was a plan: get names on the house before the wedding, secure a legal claim. If I resisted, frame it as a trust issue. If I agreed, push for the deed. I realized then that Jake was just a pawn in his mother's game. I felt a wave of grief wash over me. For years of love, holidays, and promises had been reduced to a checklist. I left before sunrise the next morning. I packed my car in the dark, leaving behind the furniture and kitchen things Jake had insisted on buying. At 8:58 a.m. I sent a text to Jake, "We're done. Don't contact me." Then I blocked his number. It didn't take long for the backlash to start. Mrs. Thompson called me at 9:47 a.m. Her voice shrill with rage. She accused me of fraud and said I'd abandoned her son. Mr. Thompson called later, trying to reason with me, but I calmly explained that it was just a lease. Ethan's friends started flooding my social media with accusations. They called me cruel, manipulative, and financially abusive. But I didn't respond. I knew that people who benefit from confusion would always be angry when clarity arrives. 3 days later, I posted a warning on social media, PSA. If someone asks you to put their parents on your property deed before marriage, ask why. Many people filled in the blanks for me, and I received private messages from people who knew what Mrs. Thompson was like. One of Jake's ex-girlfriends even messaged me to say that his mother had tried the same thing with her. Mrs. Thompson hired a lawyer and threatened to sue me for fraud, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and breach of promise. But Mr. Reed told me they didn't have a leg to stand on. No one had signed anything, and there was no property purchase. They also tried to get me to remove my Facebook post, claiming defamation, but Mr. Reed said truth was an absolute defense. The wedding started to fall apart. The florist, venue, and caterer all contacted us. Linda and Robert had paid an $8,000 non-refundable deposit for the venue, and when the cancellation policy was confirmed, they lost that money. The blame landed on Jake. Jake showed up at my studio one night. He said he didn't mean it the way it seemed, that his mom just wanted to feel safe. I laughed and asked him, safe from what? Me leaving? He admitted he loved me, but I told him he loved what I could provide more. 2 days later, Mr. Reed called to say they dropped all the legal threats. Jake wasn't doing well, but I knew I'd made the right decision. I took the engagement ring to be appraised and got about 70% of what I'd paid. The money went back into my house fund. 3 weeks after I left, the noise finally died down. Jake posted a vague Instagram story about choosing himself and walking away from toxicity. His bio on dating apps said he was looking for someone mature, grounded, and financially stable, and he cropped me out of the photos we'd taken together. I don't regret how I handled it. I didn't lose a fiancé, I avoided a lifetime of being controlled. Love that needs leverage isn't love, it's control. And this time, when I buy a house, it will truly be mine.